Is Lensa Odingo, and our social. Speak to us on at KBC Channel 1 on all those social platforms. Let us know what you think, where you're watching us from, and we can sample some of your views at the tail end of this live broadcast. But let's begin now with that Matatu strike story. And at least 4 people have been confirmed dead during the Matatu protests that took place Monday. 2 people were allegedly shot by police during protests in Kiambu that left 1 person dead and another receiving treatment at Kiambu Level 5 Hospital. In the meantime, 1 person in Nakuru was also shot dead during the protest, with a similar incident happening in Kakamega. A female police officer also sustained injuries after falling from a speeding vehicle in Kiambu. Nairobi Regional Police Commander Issa Mohamud has termed the Matatu strike as illegal, even as he revealed that at least 225 suspects have been arrested in connection with that Matatu strike. Timothy Kipnusu is the one who opens our coverage with that latest report.
Nairobi streets and other parts of the city were running battle between the anti-riot police and the members of the public on Monday. Irate members of the public burned tires and lit bonfires to express their frustration on the hiking of fuel prices. A heavy contingent of police was deployed to protect business premises from being looted by goons. However, the residents accused the security agencies of allegedly using excessive force while dispersing demonstrators. The strike saw 4 people lose their lives and scores injured. In Kiambu, 2 people were shot, leaving 1 dead and another receiving treatment at Kiambu Level 5 Hospital. In Nakuru and Kakamega, 2 people were also shot dead during the protest, bringing the death toll to 3. In Naivasha, property worth millions of shillings was burned or looted as what was a peaceful demonstration over the high fuel prices turned ugly. 2 people were shot and seriously injured as business in the lakeside town was paralyzed while transport was paralyzed across the town.
Any attempt to block road, disrupt business, engage in violence will not lower the prices of oil, but will instead harm the economy, endanger lives, and that will attract also the full force of the law. And that's why you are here.
According to the Nairobi Regional Police Commander Issa Mohamud, 5 police vehicles and 1 private vehicle were vandalized during the melee.
We'll charge them with serious offenses, economic sabotage, and so many things, and the malicious damage of police vehicles. So they will face serious. They must get the full consequences of the law.
Further confirmed that 225 people have been arrested in connection with the Matatu strike.
The police officers who were injured are 6, including me. You can see, this is a rock. So if you tell me this is an unarmed and a peaceful protest, you know what it means. You know what it means, this. So I was not born like this. So this is a new, something added to my body.
With 500 million shillings lost in these particular demos that has paralyzed transport across the country, the association is now calling on the government to listen to their plea to end the stalemate. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
And the government has warned that it would take decisive action against those criminals who infiltrated those protests. Now, the nationwide public service vehicles protest on Monday left commuters stranded, with many left with the option of either walking to work or getting an unofficial day off. Some of those who opted to use private vehicles were, however, not lucky after goons who had infiltrated the protests barricaded major roads right across the country. Matatu Owners Association say that the protests will persist until fuel price issue is sorted. Here's that report.
The strike on Monday closed a shut town of major town in the country. Commuters who had woken up in the morning in the hope of making it to work were left stranded with no vehicles in sight. The only option left for many was to walk to work or throw in the towel and call it a day.
Kwa mimi vile niliamka, I was told kwa barabara hakuna magari, na magari ambayo yalikuja town yalikuja kitu 6 na kuanzia 6 magari hayakuwa. So mimi nikaamua at least nitembee kwa mguu, but ni mbali.
Nimetoka Kibera nikakuja stage ya Ngong Road. So kufika stage sijapata gari. Kabidi nimechukua boda, but wanakataa. but wamenilipisha so expensive kufika tao.
Lakini ile kitu tungeomba hata kwa serikali waweze kuelewana mambo ya mafuta, watu ya matatu, watu yote wenye wanafanya na heavy commercial, watu wenye wanafanya watu wa biashara ya jua kali. Sisi wote tuweze kuelewana hii mambo hizi tuweze kusolve hii shida.
Kwa hivyo mimi vile niliamka, I was told kwa barabara hakuna magari, na magari ambayo yalikuja town yalikuja kitu 6 na kuanzia 6 magari hayakukuwa. So mimi nikaamua at least nitembee kwa mguu, but ni mbali kutoka South B mpaka hapa, it's like a distance ya 2 kilometers. So niliamua nitembee. Cha kushangaza nimefika town, pia boss ananipigia simu ananiambia leo kazi hakuna.
Private vehicles were not spared either. Those who tried accessing town past 8 a.m. in Nairobi found it rough, with major roads barricades with bonfires. Matatu Owners Association has in the meantime vowed to continue with the strike until the government addresses their concerns and brings down fuel prices.
Ile tungependa ni ushuru iende chini, kwa sababu hiyo ushuru ndio inafanya mafuta inapanda bei na inaumiza ule Mkenya wa kawaida, na ile tunaomba kama chama serikali iweze kusikiza wananchi, kwa sababu sio wenye biashara wanaumia peke yake.
We have reached a point at which our services have become so expensive that even trying to increase the prices doesn't work anymore. You cannot increase the price of fare, you cannot increase the price of drilling boreholes. It is impossible. Hata mama mboga hawezi fikisha mboga kwa soko tena.
According to the association, the impact of the strike has led to a loss of 500 million shillings, which is a negative impact on the economy, besides social disruption as Kenyans cannot move.
Tunaweza tukasema ile hasara tumeenda, tunaweza tukasema kwa leo ni hasara ya kama 500 million. Hiyo ndio hasara tumeweza kuenda. Tuko tayari kuendelea kupata hiyo hasara, na tutaongea na mabenki wale wako na zile maloni tuko nazo. Tuko na maloya already tumeweka in place ya kusema kuwa tutaongea na benki yote waweza kutusikiza.
But nothing stops the government from lowering the taxes to cushion the Kenyans. As a matter of fact, the road maintenance levy was taken up from 18 shillings to 25. That can be removed.
Well, as commuters walked to their destinations following that nationwide public transport strike, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen was accusing politicians of hijacking the Matatu protests and sponsoring looting and destruction of property in several parts of the country. CS Murkomen says that it cannot be a coincidence that some flagship projects by government were targeted by vandals and looters, citing the torching of 2 trucks owned by the contractor along Rironi Mau Summit site, questioning why such scenes were not witnessed in the 2022 when Kenya faced a severe fuel crisis. Nancy Okware is the one on that story.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, while taking stock of the disruptions occasioned by Monday's protests, says the Monday protest had a well-drafted script and not about fuel prices.
Whereas we take cognizance of the fact that fuel prices have risen significantly as a result of ongoing global political crisis, looting, violence, blocking roads, and vandalizing public and private property can in no way bring down the oil prices. If anything, the disruption of transport and closure of business can only worsen the situation.
The CS questioning the targeting of business outlets of people perceived to be supporters of the government, mainly in Nyeri, Kitengela and Nyahururu towns.
Criminal elements in some parts have been mobilized and deployed by rogue politicians. The looting of Ketia supermarkets owned by a member of parliament who supports government, the burning down of UDA offices in Wote in Makueni County, and the torching of 2 trucks at the site of Rironi Mau Summit flagship project are not a coincidence, but a calculated move to spread fear and intimidate government supporters and innocent public servants.
Murkomen said Kenya witnessed a severe fuel shortage in 2022, yet Matatu operators never took to the streets.
The leaders of Matatu industry at that point in time never protested against the government. So the question you should be asking yourself, why did they feel that it was okay to understand President Uhuru Kenyatta, but when it is President William Ruto, they should go to the streets? You should ask yourself, why did they not stop their vehicles just less than 4 years ago? And why is it that in the administration of President William Ruto, they have stopped their vehicles from coming to the streets? There must be something.
He's urging the public to remain calm as the government engages in dialogue to resolve the issues of concern.
We wish to reassure the country that the government will do everything in its powers to protect lives and property, and at no time would lawlessness be allowed to take root in any part of our country.
Nancy Okwari, Prime Edition.
We'll come back to more stories on that strike, but first let's look at this item. The National Assembly Energy Committee is proposing a review of the many levies imposed on fuel to help cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. Speaking during a tour of Kisumu, the committee members said that the 80 shillings per litre of fuel should be revised for a period of time to help stabilize fuel prices that have skyrocketed above 210 shillings a litre, making life way too costly for most Kenyans. Meanwhile, normalcy was observed in Kisumu City, with transport operators advocating for dialogue. Wycliffe Okech is our man on that Kisumu story.
The highest retail prices for petroleum products ever, a development that has left motorists, public transport stakeholders and Kenyans in general wondering. Apart from the landed cost, local levies imposed on the products have escalated the price at the pump beyond the reach of many Kenyans.
People are not traveling because they are so much oppressed to the extent that the fares that were added, they cannot afford it. That's why we are now appealing to the government to look into it, so that our people may not be oppressed anymore. We are oppressed to the extent that we cannot exist.
The levies include an 8% value-added tax charged at 24.36 shillings on every litre of petrol and 17.85 shillings per litre of diesel. Other levies include road maintenance levy, excise duty, import declaration fee, petroleum regulatory levy, railway development levy, and anti-adulteration levy. Put together, the levies constitute a combined average of 80 shillings of every litre of fuel retailing in Kenya. The National Assembly Energy Committee, however, says the government needs to increase subsidy on petroleum products to cushion Kenyans from further pump pain.
We are very clear. Kenyans must be cushioned on that price. Because if you allow fuel to go out of reach, everything will be expensive. So we are the taxpayers, the economy is ours, we are the people paying tax. The government must accept to subsidize fuel so that Kenyans can afford it. That one, there is no shortcut.
The committee further says revising levies imposed on petroleum products is beyond it and must be considered by the whole House once it resumes from the ongoing recess.
When we reopen back, we look into it and see that the levies that are there, those ones that we can look at and say that maybe they can be done away so that the fuel can be, the price for fuel can be reasonable, then we look into it.
Meanwhile, Kisumu town experienced calmness on a day that public transport stakeholders across the country staged protests against the hike in fuel prices.
Today we are happy with our members of the public because we are now moving from a violent scenario to a peaceful and more dialogue scenario.
We decided not to go the violent way. As Kisumians, we are trying much we can so that we have a discussion where we don't even give space for those bad people to intrude in the industry.
The leadership of Matatu Owners Association in Kisumu championed a dialogue between transport stakeholders and the government to resolve the fuel price crisis.
We know it is a global issue, but as a country we can also sit down and reduce some levies that had already been put on the fuel so that at least we get some relief in terms of the fuel.
Those VATs, those many things, the 16%, it came to 13%, and it was somewhere slightly around 8%. We want those things, the road maintenance levies, those levies, many levies, we say that we need to, they need to be released.
Reporting for Channel 1 from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Well, I'm told we are taking our first break here on Prime Edition. If I'm not wrong, we're going to take a quick break. Of course, that debate on the cost of fuel continuing. We will come back and look at what was the impact of learning of that strike on learning. We'll be back shortly with a look at that story and much more.
Do you know what's inside that prepackaged food? Those unhealthy ultra-processed foods high in sugar, salt or unhealthy fats can lead to diseases.
According to the Ministry of Health, approximately 39% of all deaths in Kenya are as a result of non-communicable diseases such as obesity, diabetes, cancer, and high blood pressure. The foods and drinks we consume every day can affect our health more than we realize.
Clear information on packages about what's in our food can help us have a healthy diet. From the Food Policy Coalition Kenya.
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
Welcome back to the second part of this live broadcast. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Let us know what your thoughts are on some of the stories we're covering for you tonight. Now, learning was paralyzed in many schools across the country following Monday's Matatu strike over the high cost of fuel. School administrators were forced to summon parents to pick up their children until the situation stabilizes. Here now is that report.
Monday morning and the country turned into a walking nation following the strike by transporters over high fuel prices. The strike not only affected workers but also school-going children. At Limuru Town School, learning activities were disrupted, with the school management summoning parents to pick their children. The same script repeated at Kamandura School along the Nairobi-Nakuru Road.
Nimeambiwa nikujie mtoto kwa sababu ni wengi ambao hawakuweza kufika katika shule, lakini sasa mwalimu mkuu akasema tuingie ili tukuje tupeleke watoto nyumbani.
Sitaleta mtoto mpaka mgomo iishe. Ndio afadhali akae nyumbani juu unaona hata yeye anasibuka kukuja. Hata mimi mahali naenda leo sijaenda kazi.
Hata sisi wenye wanapelekanga watoto shule na matatu hatungeweza na hatutaweza juu kutoka kwenye tunatoka transport imeongezewa kila mahali.
At St. John High Vision Academy in Thika, no learners or teachers were in school, highlighting the extent to which the protests have affected the education sector. Thika Sub-County Private Schools Association Chairperson Mary Kirika accused the government of failing to address the rising cost of fuel, saying the crisis was hurting all sectors of the economy, including education.
I have liaised with majority of the directors who are so down today. I have talked to the parents. Actually, they started calling me very early because, of course, they know I do a lot of coordination in terms of private schools. And if the parents are so affected also because all the children are now at home.
In Nairobi, the epicenter of the PSV's protest, many learning institutions were closed for fears of any eventuality.
So I came to school, arrived in school, but the exams were postponed. You see, right now I have to look for fare to go back home.
Well, the Deputy President has also weighed in. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki now urging Kenyans to remain patient and avoid acts of violence as government works with stakeholders to address the rising cost of fuel occasioned by the ongoing conflict in Iran. The DP was speaking during a consultative forum with grassroots leaders from Tharaka constituency at his Irondoni rural home, as in Tharaka Nithi County Monday. Kindiki noted that President William Ruto has directed the Deputy President, the Cabinet Secretaries John Mbadi, Davis Chirchir, Opiyo Wandae, and Kipchumba Murkomen to convene a meeting with stakeholders, including the owners and operators of public transport vehicles, manufacturers, as well as other players who rely on petroleum products, and seek solutions to the fuel price issue. Professor Kindiki said that the fuel crisis was a global challenge affecting economies right across the world and should therefore not be politicized, while defending the government's response to the fuel crisis through interventions undertaken to cushion Kenyans from the effects of the rising global oil prices.
Njia ya kupunguza bei ya mafuta sio maandamano. Na mimi nakemea wale ambao siku ya leo wametumia shida ambayo tuko nayo, ambayo ni shida ya dunia nzima, kuleta msukosuko na kujaribu kuumiza uchumi wa taifa la Kenya, kutatiza uchukuzi, kufunga barabara, kuchoma magari, kuiba mali ya watu ambao hawana hatia. Kuchoma magari na kuiba mali ya watu na kufunga barabara haiwezi kupunguza bei ya petroli. Bei ya petroli itapunguzwa na hatua za serikali, zingine tumeanza na zingine tutatangaza vile tunaenda mbele. Kenya Kierena mokoroyo ongwenda kama tete ikiare.
Allow me to stay with that story on the Matatu strike just for a bit. Business and transport activities have been disrupted across the county following the ongoing strike by public transport operators over the rising cost of fuel. Major towns have reported deserted streets, grounded Matatus, blocked roads, and stalled business as operators demanded government intervention. These and more in the county's roundup. Here now is our reporter, Aaron Marie.
Normal operation in Mboya halted Monday as angry youth barricaded the busy Embu-Meru highway and several roads in the town centre. Business owners closed shops amid fears of looting, while police engaged in running battles with demonstrators. By late afternoon, some barricades were cleared, but tension remained high.
Mimi ningetaka kusihi serikali yote kuanzia juu president to MCA waweze kuangalia mazirai ya Wakenya.
Tunaona polisi wametumwa kwa wingi, wamekuja kuzuia mgomo isiendelee sana, but in fact kunaonekana kama kuna peace kidogo kidogo, hata kama pia vijana nao wanaonekana wanajaribu kurusha mawe, polisi wanaonekana tu wako na utulivu.
In Mombasa and Kilifi, transport operations were disrupted as protests led by Matatu and Boda Boda operators blocked the Mombasa-Mtwapa highway. Police intervened, resulting in multiple arrests.
Ukitafuta mteja ukimuuliza kupandishia 200 akwambia mwenyewe mshahara wangu huko nilikoajiriwa mwenyewe hata natamani hata nifutwe leo. Maana mshahara uko chini na akatoa expenses kibao.
Tunajiunga pamoja na ule mgomo wa watu wa transport kila mahali nchini kusema lazima bei ya mafuta ishuke.
Kitale's public transport was paralyzed as Matatu operators joined a nationwide strike against high fuel prices. The Kitale bus parks saw a total shutdown, leaving commuters stranded.
Hakuna customers wa kwenda hata mahali kwa sababu ya mafuta imepanda juu.
Mpaka ukiambia customer mfikishe mahali ilikuwa ya 50, sasa hivi kumwambia mfikishe na 70, anakataa. Imebidi tutulie tu, rais apunguze mafuta ndio tuendelee tufanye kazi.
Leo ningeomba serikali itusaidie. Unaona hapa kwa stage hatuna magari. Tumeumia leo sana na hii bus park ndio inalipa serikali ushuru mingi sana.
Transport was also disrupted in Kakamega, where Matatu owners and residents staged demonstration.
Kama biashara itakuwa namna hii,
Sasa afadhali turudi kwa biashara nyingine ambayo tutakuwa tunatumia mafuta. Hao vijana ukiwatuma kwa barabara walete pesa, wanakuja jioni hawana pesa. So itakuwa ni kazi bure, insurance inaenda.
Ni maisha yetu sasa inaenda chini kwa, hata mama mboga kwa sababu tunabeba mama na 70. Sasa hata mama mwenye anauza mboga hiyo 70 akikwambia kwa na 70 unaona hata ni kazi bure hawezi mbeba.
At the Busia main stage, hundreds of travelers were left stranded. The commuters were frustrated as few public service vehicles operated, with some charging exorbitant fares.
President wetu maana ambapo iko huko, sikia hii sauti na utusaidie sisi kama wakina mama, usaidie vijana wetu wapate kazi. Maisha imekuwa ngumu, vile tuweza kusafiri hakuna.
Leo hatuna mapato. Wafanyabiashara wale walijaribu kurauka na magari ya asubuhi, wote wamekwama. Wako Busia, wanajaribu vile watarudi. Sasa mawasiliano yamekuwa tatizo.
In Kisii County, Matatu operators launched a strike, leading to a significant transport disruptions. Local residents expressed concern over the economic impact of rising fuel prices.
Hii mafuta ukiangalia imetuweka vibaya sana, sababu gharama ya kuoperate hiyo gari imekuwa ni juu sana. So hatupati hata kitu, hiyo gari inabakisha.
Mimi mkazi wa Nakuru, lakini sasa nimefungiwa hapa Kisii sababu ya mafuta.
And Nyeri saw public transport services withdrawn as PSV operators protested against high fuel cost. All three terminali were deserted, affecting school children and commuters alike. Operators highlighted the untenable nature of current fuel prices and called for a national dialogue to address the crisis.
Hakuna magari zinaenda, hata wanabodaboda wote wako strike sababu ya hii mambo ya mafuta.
Maisha imekuwa ngumu sana na kila kitu yenye inatumika kwa hii nchi tunajua ni mafuta, lazima mafuta itumike. So wapunguze bei ya mafuta, Mkenya apate kitu kidogo. Juu wakiongeza bei ya mafuta na tushafinywa zaidi, sasa tunaona sisi tumefika mwisho.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Aaron Marie.
Well, operators, they are downing their tools, some calling for action on the high cost of fuel. We're now listening to what the CS for Energy, Opiyo Wandayi, said a little while ago while he was addressing the press from his Transcom House office. Let's now listen into what he said.
And therefore would not wish to see any form of disruption in that particular sector, even for a minute. So in an open engagement, within a spirit of transparency, we have been able to listen keenly to the issues raised by the public transport sector players. And one of these issues was the matter of possible adulteration of diesel due to the huge disparity in the prices of diesel and petrol and kerosene, sorry. The disparities between the prices of diesel and kerosene, as was announced by EPRA on the 14th of May this year. We have come to understanding that for prudence purposes and to eliminate the risk of fuel adulteration on account of this huge disparity and to save the motor vehicles that are operating using diesel from possible malfunction as a result of possible adulteration, we are going to bridge the gap between the prices of diesel and petrol. And that would mean, therefore, that the price of kerosene would have to go higher as that of diesel comes lower to bridge that gap for the reasons I have stated. That is the understanding we have come up with in the course of these deliberations. Details of those movements of prices are going to be published shortly by EPRA as mandated by law. I must also add that EPRA was fully involved in those deliberations, and this common understanding has been arrived at unanimously. That is the end of the statement. Thank you very much.
Of course, the CS there, Wandai, addressing a press conference and indicating that government wishes to see any form of disruption come to an end. He talks about government wanting to bridge the gap that exists between the prices of diesel on one end and the prices of petrol on the other. Of course, the import of that, the CS emphasizing that kerosene, therefore, must go a little higher for the price of diesel to come down. He speaks of details of the movement of those prices following the common understanding amongst those stakeholders that the prices to be published by EPRA as mandated in law. Did the white smoke below? Well, we are still keeping our finger on the pulse of that story, and once that happens, we will, of course, be letting you know. Let's now move on a little bit onto the same story, but Jubilee Party is now weighing in, and they're claiming that government is to blame for Monday's nationwide Matatu strike as public disobedience. The Jubilee presidential hopeful, Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, says that the protest is as a result of what he terms as runaway corruption. Addressing Jubilee Party delegates in Kiambu, Dr. Matiang'i said that the rise in fuel prices is hurting the nation. Here's that report.
The Jubilee Party National Delegates meeting slated for Monday in Kiambu failed to proceed, with the National Executive Committee resolving to push the session to next week as a result of the ongoing Matatu strike.
Kauli moja sisi kama chama cha Jubilee kwamba tunajiunga na tunasimama na Wakenya wengine katika mgomo ambao unaendelea leo.
Announcing the decision, Jubilee Party's presidential hopeful Dr. Fred Matiang'i noted that public anger over fuel price hike have made it impossible to proceed with normal business. The former Interior Cabinet Secretary who addressed the delegates said Jubilee supports the strike, claiming the unrest is a clear sign that the country is headed in the wrong direction.
Na ukiangazia haya maneno ukiyafuata karibu, we have gotten ourselves here because of corruption and incompetence in the management of our country. I want to be very honest with you, my brothers and sisters. Mimi kwa maoni yangu, niseme kama kiongozi, we are headed in the wrong direction, and not even just the wrong direction. I think the worst is about to come.
According to Matiang'i, corruption in the fuel sector is to blame for the crisis which is affecting ordinary Kenyans.
Our government, as Jubilee, will not get into a fictitious and criminal agreement like that G2G and cause the prices of fuel to get where they have gotten today.
Ukiona petroli, ukiona diesel, ukiona mpaka mafuta taa, inakuwa na gharama kuliko hata vitu zingine. Na mnajua hiyo pia inaingilia maisha ya kila mtu. Kweli mjue nchi imekwisha.
He warned Kenyans to brace for hard times ahead. Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
Yenda nyumbani utasoma.
Well, we're taking a short break. When we come back, we will be looking at stories, including that story of the one death or death. You don't want to go away. Stay with us.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible
Yes.
to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Speak to us. What are your thoughts? Where are you watching us from? Now, family members, friends, and leaders have received with shock news of the demise of gospel singer Rachel Wendeto following an assault. Wendeto succumbed to her severe burn injuries after she was allegedly dosed with petrol and set ablaze in Mwiki, Nairobi County on Sunday. President William Ruto and Interior Security Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen condoled with the family, saying that the perpetrators of the attack will be brought to book.
Suffering 79% burn injuries following a brutal attack in Mwiki, Nairobi County. The late gospel artist gained public attention after engraving the president's tattoo on her shoulder. In a statement, President William Ruto condemned the attack, saying Kenya has no room for political intolerance or violence that undermines freedom of expression and association. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who earlier on Sunday visited Wendeto in hospital, vowed that justice would be served. He said the artist's death should challenge leaders and Kenyans alike to reject divisive and violent politics. Nairobi-nominated MCA Cecilia Wairimu condemned the attack, calling on Kenyans to respect the divergent political views as enshrined in the Constitution.
Siasa isifanye tuwane, siasa zitakuja na ziende. Viongozi wanakujanga wengi kutoka 1963 kumekuwa kukichaguliwa marais. Mbona hiyo ile Ruto ndio inafanya watu waoneshwe mabaya? Tupendane ni Wakenya. Wakenya tuacheni tudumishe amani katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Na umoja wetu katika Kenya, mwile umoja usawa tunaweza kuwa nayo na tuendelee mbele, nafikiri ndio inaweza tusaidia. Tupendaneni wa Kenya.
Speaking at the Kenyatta National Hospital, nominated MCA Diana Katile called for thorough investigations into the incident.
We understand, and from the look of things, there was malice aforethought in this case. So we do expect that the investigative agencies will move swiftly to ensure that this matter is handled, that this matter is exhausted, that this lady and the family get justice. The children of this lady need justice, the mother needs justice, the husband needs justice.
Mariambo reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Certainly, she needs justice. May her soul rest in peace. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is investigating what it claims to be irregular employment of staff at the Masinda Muliro University, detectives from the commission have already grilled the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Solomon Shibairo, on the circumstances that led to the questionable employment of the institution's procurement director. Achola Simon reports.
Professor Shivairo was grilled for hours by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission investigators at the Western Region office in Bungoma County as the anti-graft body seeks to unravel the controversy that surrounds the controversial employment of Dr. Ezekiel Chirchir as the Director of Procurement. Following complaints from various stakeholders, the anti-graft body launched investigations into the recruitment process. The institution failed to provide crucial documents asked by the anti-graft body. Some of the documents requested by EACC include personal file for the officer, including the appointment and copies of academic and professional certificates and advertisement for the position, long and short listing records for the said position, among other requirements. The University Council, chaired by Dr. Pamela Stenay, is accused of appointing the candidate to the crucial position despite his previous conviction record. EACC is investigating over 15 public universities over irregular employment of staff, some of whom have questionable qualifications, inflated contractual cost, and infrastructure development and awarding of marks and certificates to students who never qualify for the same. Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
Your courier's here.
That was quick. It's fine. No pressure, no pressure. But she really needs someone to go with her today. I know, I'll go. Nana, come here. Come help me out.
You stay there.
No.
Just stay there.
Do you listen to my mom or to me?
When you're around to you, when she's around to her.
You traitor.
Welcome to the sports segment. I'm holding down the fort for the news anchor. 2015 world champion Julius Yego won a 6th African Senior Athletic Championship gold medal as Kenya finished 2nd overall with 5 gold, 5 silver and 7 bronze at the 24th edition of the games that closed in Accra, Ghana, Sunday. Yego won gold with a throw of 79.87 metres to win Kenya's 4th gold in Accra. Diana Chepkemoi rounded the top podium step for Kenya after winning the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase in 9 minutes 29.18 seconds. The other gold medalists were Diana Wanza in the women's 10,000 meters, Kevin Chesang in the men's 10,000 meters, and Kevin Lofty in the men's 800 meters. The silver medalists were decathlete Edwin To, race walkers Stephen Dangiri and Silva Gerono, Mercy Koskei in the women's steeplechase and the men's 4x400 relay team. The bronze medals were won by Isaac Kimunu in the long jump, Belinda Obura in the shot put, Asbel Kiprop Mboya in the high jump, Silas Centura in the 10,000 meters, Laban Kipto, men's 5,000 meters, the 4x400 mixed relay team and the women's 4x4 relay team. South Africa topped the championships with 18 medals comprising 9 gold, 3 silver and 6 bronze. The next African Senior Athletics Championships will be hosted by Botswana in 2028. And the national women's soccer team, Harambee Starlets, is set to feature in a 4 Nations International Friendly Series scheduled for June the 6th all the way to the 9th in Lusaka, Zambia. The tournament will also feature hosts Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Burkina Faso. Kenya will play Zimbabwe on the 6th of June before facing highly ranked Zambia on the 9th of June. Zambia will open their quest against Burkina Faso. Kenya will use the friendly matches to prepare for the 2026 Africa Women's Cup of Nations scheduled for the 25th of August, or July, beg your pardon, all the way to the 16th of August in Morocco. It will be the second time Kenya will be participating in the Continental Showpiece after debuting in 2016. Aman Ganatra won the 4WD category during the second round of the Shell Autocross Rally Championship that was held at Stony Athi Racing Track in the great county of Machakos. Ganatra accumulated 11 minutes and 55 seconds over 4 heats to win the category ahead of Sahib Omar, who came in second after 11 minutes and 52 seconds, while Tinashe Gatimo completed the podium dash in 13 minutes and 37 seconds. The open class was a close contest that saw Javad Lota clock 12 minutes, 3 seconds to prevail ahead of Junaid Shah and Anil Khan, who were placed in second and third positions, respectively. Alan Bengi topped the better junior baggy clock, clocking 14 minutes, 18 seconds, while Ian Bengi was the best in the cadet junior baggy, bringing in 12 minutes, 44. Now the competition, the second leg of the 7-round year-long series attracted over 40 drivers who battled for honors in 6 categories.
There are a lot of emotions that come with the final fight. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of pressure. There is pressure from myself to perform better, not just for myself, but for my fans, for my sponsors. There's a lot of pressure and there's anxiety, there's a lot of excitement, mix it up with love for the sport and wanting to do and be better. Truth is also trying to create a name out there for yourself. Just trying to be one of Kenya's great drivers.
Consistency mainly because you can be as quick as you want, but dealing with gravel, you have to know where the grip is, so you have to keep it on all four and be consistent, yeah.
Kenya Police Bullets Football Club were crowned winners of the 2025-2026 FKF Women's Premier League after defeating Madeira Soccer Assassin 1-0 in their final league fixture held at the Police Sacco Stadium, Nairobi. Police wound up the campaign with 52 points, while Ulinzi Starlets finished second on 47 points. Kibera Women's Soccer were placed third.
Police Bullets tayari kesha atawazwa kama bingwa msimu wa 2025 Chaka ndio ambaye msimu huu kweli amefunga mabao mengi kutokana na kwa juu ya kona.
Anaiweka pembeni kushoto, pembeni kulia, analinyanyua kweli kweli. 25 26 Police FC, Police Bullets. Sasa ni Karibu sana aliwapa changamoto taji la ligi kuu. Msimu uliopita walienda pasi na kushindwa hata mtanange mmoja. Msimu huu
saa nyingine na bingwa kama amekuwa bingwa inabidi saa nyingine ucheze na caution kidogo. Tumekuwa so cautious because we are handling a champion and usipochunga champion anaweza sherekea na wewe na kufunga bao mingi. Kwa hivyo mimi kwangu game imekuwa nzuri, nashukuru Mungu. Hata hiyo matokeo ya 1-0 kwangu si mbaya sana.
Nasema msimu mimi nimekuwa na season nzuri kila mara. Nasema tu ni bidii na kuwa na wachezaji wazuri na pia management nzuri.
Season we have a lot to do. We have to increase that prize money, we have to bring more fans into the stadiums, and we have to of course bring more sponsors. It is important and very imperative that we continue building women football from the grassroots. I think you've seen the quality of football that the girls are playing. Absolutely unbelievable. And this is what we need to nurture. This is what we need to continue building up on.
Kushoto pembeni kulia wanalinyanyua kweli hapa.
Now, the 5th edition of the grassroots soccer tournament, Chapa Dimba, was officially launched Monday ahead of the national kickoff of the tournament. The year's tournament will witness an all-star team comprising of 32 outstanding players scouted from the tournament representatives in Kenya at prestigious Gothia Cup in Sweden, the world's largest youth football tournament. The tournament will take place across 8 regions nationwide, structured in 5 stages: ward level, county level, the inter-county level, regional level, and of course the national finals.
This is the first season of Chapadimba with the new regime. I want to assure you that this particular team that is seated here will give Safaricom and will give your team the best collaboration you've ever experienced, but most importantly, extract the most benefit that both parties will enjoy moving forward into the future. The activities that we undertake in the coming months with this Chapadimba is a critical point for youth development in regards to football.
Well, that's all the time we had for you on this day. That's the world observed the International HR Day. Of course, here at the national broadcaster KBC, we observed it through a number of activities under the strong theme of empower people, lead change. All staff today were in black and blue. Of course, my colleague Tipothy Kipnusu, who was holding down the fort at 7 p.m., also got the memo. Tomorrow, we are all doing blue and white. Muchuma Odimi, you have been notified. Let's see you tomorrow. And of course, on behalf of the team in the back end, I want to thank you, as usual, for making us your channel of choice. And on behalf of all of us, including our sign language interpreter, Lensa Odingo, I am Mboya, bidding you farewell. We will be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. Good night from all of us.
Wakenya, ni wakati mwingine wa kuhakikisha kuwa umefile KRA returns. Je, uko rada una challenge yoyote? Usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC Channel 1 wanakuja hapo ulipo kusaidia kufile returns na kulipia ushuru wako. Jiunge na msafara wa KRA Roadshow, uwe fiti mambo ya returns. Jumanne tarehe 19 mwezi Mei tunazuru eneo la Machakos kuanzia Syokimau, Mlolongo, Athi River, Chumvi, Machakos Town, Mtituni, kisha tumalizie eneo la Tala. Tarehe 30 Juni iko mlangoni. Usingoje hadi dakika za mwisho. File KRA returns mapema. Ishi bila stress. Jijue, jibeta. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Your courier's here.
That was quick. It's fine. No pressure, no pressure. But she really needs someone to go with her today. I know, I'll go. Nana, come here. Come help me out.